What went wrong? The Battle of Apback. This will be the second turn, the 0900 turn. What went wrong on the first turn was we were far too cautious, and the random end of turn condition happened so quickly that we barely got anything done. So to compensate, we will be heedlessly reckless this turn and throw ourselves into it full force. The first thing we have to do is to roll for the artillery and air support missions for the ARVN player. So we rolled a 3, so we'll have 3 missions this turn. Now for the airstrikes, we roll a 5, but the first 3 turns, airstrikes are diminished, basically to simulate the lack of coordination, I think, at the very beginning. So we will actually end up with a 3 for airstrikes as well. So we're calling our position here. We have the NLF in concealed spots, kind of ringing the outermost areas. And then the Civil Guard, the ARVN, haven't moved very far, just one area, just enough to kind of come into contact. So we'll get started by drawing our first card for activation. So our first card is a black 3. That will be the ARVN turn, and that means they'll have 1 activation, half of 3 with fractions dropped. So since we can conduct an airstrike or artillery strike in place of a unit activation for a card draw, we're going to go ahead and place a couple of artillery strikes here. We're going to hit that town again with our second one. We're going to hit that little village. Can't quite see it right there. The white card, since I don't have another artillery strike marker. So we'll go ahead and fire our artillery right here on this one. And it's a pretty simple process. We draw a card. Those figures. So in the first turn, when I attacked with artillery, I drew a card and it was a face card, and I thought, I'm not sure what to do. I think I'll just treat it as a 10. I think that's incorrect. I think I'm supposed to keep drawing until I reach a numeric card. So I drew another card and it's a 5. So now the procedure is to subtract the defense of the area and this concealment. So that's -3, so I have a net of 2. And then if I exceed the defense factor, I cause a casualty. And since I did not exceed the defense factor, no casualty. So now I have 1 more artillery strike I can make. Again, same process here. Draw a card in 8. That's -2 and conceal, so that's a 5. So that is bigger than 4 and causes a casualty. So that would be the end of the ARVN activation. We'll draw a card for the next phase here. We draw a black ace. That is, again, the ARVN activation. And we're going to go ahead and call in 2 airstrikes. And basically we're going to strike this target here, and we're going to strike that target there. I think I'm making a mess out of the rules of this game. But no matter. We had 1 activation for our last card, so we're going to call in our airstrikes. And we're going to draw our card. It's a 6. For airstrikes, we actually subtract the terrain as well as the unit's defense factor. So we're trying to hit this infantry, but there's 6 total, and that means well, and the concealment, that means no strike. Now we're going to strike at that guy this turn, or this draw. So the card draws a 4. That's a 3, 2, and then the defense factor. So airstrikes seem to be very ineffective. And despite the fact that I think I've done this wrong, I'm just going to keep going with my next activation. So my next activation is a red king, and that means the NLF can actually perform has a choice to perform either 2 activations or reduce or bring back a eliminated or recover a reduced unit. So since I have that heavy weapons unit reduced, I'm going to use my face card to bring them back to full strength. And that will be our activation. Our next card draw is a black 10. So that's 5 activations for the ARVN. So what I think this means is my first activation, I could call in an artillery strike. My second activation, I could move a unit. My third, I could, maybe call another artillery strike. I think that's what the intent of the rule is, so that's what I'm going to do this turn. So I have 1 artillery mission left to me. I'm going to bring it down on top of this village. One more time, I'm going to try to hit this infantry. And I'll draw a card. It's a 3. Ugh. So another miss. So I squandered a lot of my artillery here trying to impact that guy with no success. So that means I have 4 more activations left. And I'm going to start moving my units around. So down here, as I shuffle these guys out of the way, I have Civil Guard here. I'm going to move 1 here. And then I'm going to move 1 more to here. And then that's going to cause this guy to take some opportunity fire. He's going to lose his concealment marker, but he's going to fire at this moving unit. I think we're going to get a hit on this one. We drew a card of a 10, and that, in all likelihood, is going to be a casualty. Now, for opportunity fire, we actually then roll 1 die, and if it's a odd numbered roll, the unit takes a casualty, and it also has to retreat back into the area it came from. So that was an effective attack by the NLF. That leaves us with 3 more activations. So we're going to move this guy here, and we're going to take our opportunity fire again since we've already lost our concealment. We roll a 4, so 3 plus 4 is 7, minus 3 is 4, and we're in the open here, so no additional modifier. So that'll be a net of 4, which will reduce that unit. That was a tough turn, but now we have 2 more activations we can make. Kind of don't like our chances of getting anywhere, but we've got to soldier on here. That's what the Americans were complaining about historically. So we will move 1 unit here, and we're going to lose our concealment and take an opportunity fire there. It's a face card. Yes, I think face cards only apply for the activation special case. Otherwise, you redraw for any kind of fire or combat attacks. So we draw the next card, which is an ace. So that's a 1. And yeah, we won't get a casualty there. So now we have another activation we can make here. And we need to get these guys in the fight, so we're going to move them here and then here. So we're going to use opportunity fire and fire this unit here. Give up our concealed status. That was a good choice because we drew a 9. So 9 is definitely going to be potential for casualty. We'll roll 1 die. So an even die. So that means we retreat, but do not suffer a casualty. So that will have been our 5th activation. And that'll be the end of our turn. Or our phase, excuse me. Now we can draw another card. It's a red 10. So that means I have 5 NLF activations coming my way. I think we're going to spend 1 here to fire on those guys. So we drew a 3. 3 plus 3 is 6, minus 3, back down to 3, no good, we won't get a casualty. So now we'll take our next activation. We're going to fire here on this area. That's a combined attack of 4. We drew a 5, that's a total of 9. Minus 4 is 5, so we do have 1 reduced unit here. Now we have 3 more activations. We're going to conduct some more fires here. So we have here, this hex. We're going to fire the infantry and the heavy weapons area at that unit there. So we drew a 5. 10 minus 4, so that's a casualty. We'll take another activation here and attack there. Drew a 3, so that's 6, and a 2, so that's a 4, so we eliminated one of the Civil Guard units. Bloody. I have 1 more activation left. Well, I have 1 more activation left, but I just don't have anybody in range to either fire or move effectively. I don't want to give up my concealment status, so I'm going to move on to the next card draw here. It's a red ace, so half of 1 is half, but we never have less than 1 activation per card draw. So that means we have 1 card draw. Excuse me, 1 activation. And I did forget to remove that concealed marker because those guys fired. But we're going to fire again. And we're going to pick on this guy right here. I'm going to fire this unit against here. So we draw a card of 4. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a kill because 4 and 3 minus 2 greater than 2, so that's a death. So another Civil Guard unit knocked out. So we'll go on to our next card draw here. It's a red 9. So the NLF are kind of getting all the luck. So red 9, half of that will be 4. So we can activate 4 units. I think we will fire this guy here on this unit here, the full strength one. We drew a 9. Actually, we drew a jack, but redrawing our 9. And that's, I'm sure, going to be a kill because that's way higher than this guy's defense factor. So he's knocked out or knocked down. Now we have another activation. We have this attack here. So we'll draw a card. Another 9. So that's going to be another Civil Guard unit wiped out. So I guess we can see why the ARVN called in for their reinforcements, because these Civil Guard units are just getting torn up. So So now we have 2 more activations coming to us. And we're going to fire these 2 areas here. So the first will be a 3. Draw an ace, so that's 4, and that's no damage there. Our last activation will fire these units, and the heavy artillery, heavy weapons, whatever they are going to combine with the infantry. So for an attack of 4, the card draw of 8, that's a 12. I think we'll get a casualty here. So we will reduce that unit. So we have 2 reduced Civil Guard units here, 2 full strength, and 1 reduced. Otherwise, the ARVN are in pretty tough shape here. So we'll move on to our next card draw. So we drew a red queen, so we can either activate 2 units or recover a reduced or eliminated unit. So we have a reduced unit here, but we have the ARVN on the ropes here. So I think we should activate 2 units. That should be our plan. So our first is going to be to fire here, combined with the heavy weapons on the ARVN unit. So we drew a 2, that's a 7, minus the 3, that's 4, so we reduce that unit. So the 2nd Civil Guard Battalion has been wiped out. We're about to do a very bad thing from the ARVN perspective. We're going to move the NLF into that area. The problem is that puts us at risk of losing our artillery support unit. So we're going to have to scramble as the ARVN to get back into that area. So we'll go to our next card draw. Oh no, it's a joker. That is going to almost completely cripple the ARVN, because if the artillery support is in an area occupied only by NLF, it's eliminated at the end of a turn. Now, without the artillery support unit, the ARVN can't bring back eliminated units. That means our entire 2nd Civil Guard Battalion is gone forever. And really, we're going to have to bring in our reinforcements to even have a chance at this game. But they'll have to wait till the next turn. So with our devastating casualties, you can see that our ARVN morale has dropped to 3. This is the automatic loss kind of area of the morale track. So if we were to roll a die and have it be modified in such a way that it would be smaller than the current turn number, that would be an automatic victory for the NLF. Our die roll was a 6. It was -1 for having lost our artillery support unit. So we'll keep playing, but this is looking really grim for the ARVN. So we're going to have to bring on our airborne and probably our mechanized cavalry as well. The side effect of that is massive victory points will be awarded to the NLF for that. So they'd better get the job done. The second side effect of the loss of the artillery support unit is that the number of missions we can call in is going to decrease pretty drastically. So this was a terrible turn for the ARVN. Very good one for the NLF.